From a moisture farmer on Tatooine to the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy, Luke Skywalker redefined the hero's journey. We saw him blow up a Death Star, redeem Darth Vader, and confront an entire army with nothing but a lightsaber. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. Luke Skywalker's connection to the Force ran deeper than most realized, especially in Star Wars Legends. With that in mind, these are Luke Skywalker's 10 greatest Force feats. Number 10, becoming immune to Salamiri. The Salamiri are creatures native to the planet Merkur, known for their unique ability to create a Force-neutral bubble around themselves. This biological defense mechanism evolved to protect them from Force-sensitive predators like the Vornskers. Within this bubble, Force users find themselves unable to access or manipulate the Force, effectively rendering their abilities useless. Luke Skywalker first encountered the Salamiri during the events of Timothy Zahn's Heir to the Empire trilogy. Grand Admiral Thrawn, ever a tactical genius, used them for defense by attaching them to a harness. Initially, like other Jedi, Luke was affected by their Force-neutralizing field. However, over time, he developed methods to mitigate their effects. In James Luceno's The New Jedi Order Agents of Chaos 1 Hero's Trial, Luke reflects on his efforts, saying, "Maybe if I hadn't spent the past few years trying to learn how to overcome Salamiri." While the exact techniques Luke employed remain unspecified, his ability to adapt and counteract the Salamiri's influence showcases his deepening mastery of the Force. Number 9, creating decoys of starships. In the Star Wars Legends continuity, Luke Skywalker demonstrated an extraordinary Force ability, crafting intricate illusions of starships. This feat is prominently showcased in Troy Denning's Dark Nest trilogy. In Dark Nest 1, The Joiner King, Luke conjures a detailed illusion of the Jade Shadow, his wife Mara Jade's vessel. The effort is so taxing that it leaves him physically debilitated. These illusions are not mere holographic projections, they're tangible constructs that can deceive both visual observers and sensor equipment. The level of detail and realism required to fool advanced detection systems underscores Luke's profound connection to the Force and his unparalleled skill in manipulating it. Number 8, reaching out to every Jedi in the galaxy. One of Luke's most staggering displays of Force ability occurred in the Fate of the Jedi series, when he reached out to every Jedi in the galaxy, all at once. Sure, we saw him do this with Leia in The Empire Strikes Back, but this takes things to the extreme. This feat took place in Dark Nest 3, The Swarm War by Troy Denning, where Luke created a powerful Force beacon to contact every Jedi spread across countless systems. He did this not just to warn them, but to issue guidance and coordinate their actions in a time of mounting darkness. What makes this so impressive is the sheer scope of the galaxy. Communicating through the Force is often limited to one-on-one interactions or brief visions, yet Luke broadcasted their presence like a flare across hyperspace, uniting Force-sensitive minds no matter their distance. Number 7, becoming immovable. Once again in Dark Nest 3, The Swarm War, Luke Skywalker demonstrates a Force technique so advanced it defies basic physics. He makes himself completely physically immovable. The moment comes during a confrontation with Raynar Thal during the Battle of Tanupe. He attempts to blast Luke with the Force, but Skywalker roots himself into the ground. By rooting himself with the Force, drawing on its energy not just around him, but through him, he essentially becomes an unshakable object. No push, no blast, no external power can shift him. In fact, Skywalker is described as being so unyielding that even the black hole at the center of the Star Wars galaxy would not have been able to affect him. Very few Force users in the Star Wars universe have pulled off something like this, and fewer still could maintain it in the heat of combat. Number 6, interacting with the physical world as a Force ghost. Most Jedi who become one with the Force fade into a luminous echo, able to guide, comfort, and appear to the living, but never to interfere. That rule doesn't apply to Luke Skywalker. In The Rise of Skywalker, we see Force Ghost Luke do something that was once thought impossible. When Rey attempts to cast away her lightsaber, Luke catches it mid-air. He physically grabs the weapon. Later, he raises his own old X-Wing from the ocean depths of Ahch-To with the Force, fully manipulating the physical world as if he were still alive. This redefined what it meant to transcend death in the Force. Before this, only Yoda had shown anything similar, calling down lightning in The Last Jedi. But Luke took it further. Becoming a Force ghost is rare. Affecting the material world after death? That's something only the most powerful Jedi in history have achieved. Number 5. Remotely piloting the Millennium Falcon. In Dave Wolverton's 1994 novel, The Courtship of Princess Leia, Luke Skywalker performs one of his most underrated but technically impressive feats, remotely piloting the Millennium Falcon using the Force. On Dathomir, Han Solo is captured by the Night Sister leader, Geth Zarion, but Luke rescues him when he reaches out across a vast distance through the Force and takes control of the Falcon, operating its quad turrets, firing with pinpoint accuracy that impresses even Han. According to Solo, neither he nor Chewbacca had ever flown the Falcon quite the way Luke did. This isn't a case of giving the ship a gentle nudge. It's full-scale telekinetic piloting of one of the galaxy's most iconic and complex starships, complete with throttle adjustments, vectoring, and trajectory corrections, all done through Force intuition and control. Number 4. Absorbing Walker Fire. In the Dark Empire comics, Luke Skywalker demonstrates just how far beyond mortal limits he had ascended, by standing unflinching in the face of an AT-AT walker. Yes, he also did this in The Last Jedi as a projection, but this is entirely different. AT-ATs are among the Imperial's deadliest artillery units, with heavy cannons capable of reducing a rebel base to rubble. But Luke absorbs the blasts, his Force barrier protecting him before he's able to respond by collapsing the walker with the Force. This isn't the kind of focused energy that a Jedi might deflect with a lightsaber. Walkers are meant to obliterate heavy armor, not be countered by a single Force user. But Luke, at the peak of his power, doesn't just survive the blast. He channels the raw energy through the Force, dispersing its momentum and continuing forward. Absorbing blaster bolts is one thing, but when you're redirecting firepower capable of vaporizing armored hulls, you've stepped into a new league entirely. Number 3. Force projection across the galaxy. In The Last Jedi, Luke Skywalker performed one of the most visually stunning and spiritually profound Force feats ever put to screen, projecting himself across the galaxy. Stranded on Ahch-To in self-imposed exile, Luke taps into the deepest currents of the Force to create a lifelike, fully interactive projection of himself on the mineral world of Crate, across literal light years of distance. Unlike a simple vision or hologram, this projection appears completely real. It interacts with the physical world, speaks to others, and even engages in a full duel with Kylo Ren, deceiving everyone, including the highly Force-sensitive Supreme Leader. It was so convincing that no one realized the truth until Luke had already achieved his goal, giving the Resistance enough time to escape. This act pushed Luke beyond the known boundaries of Jedi power, drawing from the oldest and most sacred Jedi texts he had studied on Ahch-To. It required such immense energy and discipline that it ultimately cost him his life. But not before reigniting hope in the galaxy. Number 2. Manipulating a black hole. In the new Jedi Order Dark Tide 1 Onslaught, Luke Skywalker confronts the Yuuzhan Vong, an extragalactic species whose biotechnology includes the use of Dovin basiles, living organisms capable of generating miniature black holes to serve as shields and weapons. During a critical battle, Luke employs the Force to seize control of one such gravity well. By attuning himself to the Force, Luke identifies the gravitational void created by the Dovin basile. He then exerts his will to manipulate the black hole's position, directing it back toward the Vong's own vessel. The result is devastating. The ship is torn apart as it is consumed by its own defensive mechanism. Manipulating a black hole, even an artificial one, requires immense precision and power. While the Dovin Bassel's gravity wells are not equivalent to naturally occurring black holes, the ability to control such a formidable force of nature remains one of Luke's most impressive accomplishments. Number 1. Defeating Abaloth. Abaloth wasn't just any old darkside user, she was something far worse. Abaloth was an ancient, near-immortal force entity who predated the Jedi and Sith. Once a mortal woman, she became a twisted being of chaos after drinking from the font of power and bathing in the pool of knowledge. Sources tied to the most powerful beings known as the Ones, serving as the mother alongside the father, son, and daughter. As a result, she gained godlike powers, including shape-shifting, mind domination, reality warping illusions, and even the ability to corrupt entire planetary populations with her presence. Luke Skywalker faced her not once, but multiple times, confrontations which pushed him beyond any limit he had ever known. In one battle, he teamed up with Sith Lord Darth Krayt and several other Force users in a desperate alliance just to survive. It took a combination of raw power, ancient knowledge, and sheer willpower for Luke to defeat her time and again. With Abaloth heavily teased and rumored to be coming to Star Wars canon as soon as Ahsoka Season 2, he may need to help do it again.